Alright, y'all, I'm gonna walk you through this video, but first let me say to all my normal subscribers for my car stuff, I ain't forgot about y'all. The car's sitting over here. You see what kind of mess I got. Life has just been crazy. I put out a video soon letting y'all know everything that's going on. So let's get back to this video, if our screen will work for us. This is for my laser people that want to know how to do the mirror, and I'm gonna try to walk y'all through this the best I can. There's a couple of ways to do this. This is just my way. This is what I've been doing right now. So what you're gonna want to do is get your mirror in, get it mounted up, get it lined up where you're gonna cut. We're gonna do 3 colors on this mirror. This is a Gulf mirror for put my Hot Wheel cars on. My Gulf Hot Wheel cars display. Anything you're doing on the back of a mirror, you're going to have to mirror. Just remember that. You don't want anything to come out backwards. So we're doing 3 colors, and if we turn our first color is we're going to be doing is this is going to be all white. Okay, the shaded color is what we're cutting. That's going to be white. Then we're going to do, we got another layer here. This layer is going to be our orange layer. And then this layer here is going to be our blue layer. I think we're going to cut the white layer last. And probably going to cut this blue and orange first. Probably doesn't really matter which way we go. So let's cut the orange first. So this is where we're gonna cut. For y'all that don't know, this is light burn. It'll show you down here. It's gonna take us 14 minutes and 45 seconds. What I've been cutting this mirror at on my 60 watt is 200 millimeters a second at 40. Because this mirror, it comes from Lowe's. It's the 12 by 12 bevel. The backing on it seems to be a little thicker. Also, what I have noticed in the couple mirrors that I have made is this stuff tends to ball up a little bit and attach to your nozzle. So you need to clean it ever so often. So I'm probably going to do these 2 in separate pieces and clean my nozzle in between the 2 of them. And what I've been doing to clean my nozzle is just taking a brush or a swab and just cleaning off the bottom to make sure any of this stuff that's been vaporized doesn't get stuck to it, because if it does, it'll block your beam and then it won't cut all the way through. You'll have to make more cuts on it, take longer time, kill your profit margins. So we're going to cut this orange and then I'll show you what we do. Alright, she's done cooking. So what we want to do, we're going to send our little head back home so it's out of our way. Glass cleaner. See, we got residue. Now look, when you do this, it's pretty important that you don't move this at all. So I'm gonna put y'all up here for just a second. Okay. So I've got these hard drive magnets that I bought used off eBay. I think they do pretty good at holding stuff down, but you don't want this to move at all when you clean this. Clean that off. Like it's clean, yeah. So. I'm gonna get all your residue off, because you don't want it between your paint in your glass. Clean that up. We're going to let that dry for a second. Get this bucket here. Okay. And so for those that asked, oh sorry, we ain't doing cuts on this video, we just put it all together. Does it actually last? You can still see you can still see the honeycomb bed through the glass. But yes, it does etch the glass slightly. Get all this to dry. And here's where some of you may get nervous, but it's fine. I usually do this holding that closer. But you're gonna take your color paint you want to do. This is orange for us. And we're gonna paint this. Now, you had to look somewhere else for painting things, but always do a light coat, let it dry, and then do a wetter coat. So, come on. Put that down there. There. Dissipate. Ooh, it's not messed up. We're gonna dry this. Now, while this is drying, let's talk about the other way to do this. If you're doing a bunch of stuff and you're trying to do production, the way to do this is not to paint this in the machine. The way to do this is to cut a jig. I'm not gonna go into how to cut a jig, but basically you would just put down some acrylic or some wood or whatever, measure your part very precisely, lay it out, and then cut so the part can be taken out and put back in the same spot every time. That way you could run, 10 of these, and then you could be painting them away from the machine, and while they were drying you could be cutting other ones. But if you're just doing one, if you're doing a one-off, this is the most accurate way to do it, is to not move it out of the machine at all. To paint it right here in the machine. As long as you don't go crazy with your paint, you shouldn't mess anything up, and you should be cleaning this down, once a week or so anyways. So not that big a deal as long as you don't go crazy with the paint. Alright, so let's get this covered up. Let's do another coat here. We're going to do a pretty wet coat this time. And we're going to give this 10 minutes to dry before we start running our next program. So I'll come back to you when that's done. Alright, I think this is mostly dry. Look, if you're going to touch your paint, don't touch it somewhere somebody's going to see it. All this stuff is going to be on the back. Don't touch it there. Touch it over here where you overspray. See, I don't touch it over here. One time. Don't want it dry, but now it's dry. So, we're going to cut our next layer. And let's see. This is what we cut the first time. That's our orange. Oh, why is that on? Anyways, that's our orange that we just cut. So now we're going to cut that off. And I think this is our blue, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, these letters and this ring is all going to be in blue. We're going to burn this. It's going to take 35 minutes. Let's start her up and see what she does. And, oh, yeah. Alright, everything should be lined up because we hadn't pulled anything out of the machine. And like I said, you can jig it and pull stuff out of the machine, but you got to be really precise with your jig and make sure you don't. Your parts just got to go back in the same spot every time. If you're doing a real intricate design, probably best to do it in the machine. If you're doing something that, don't matter if it's off, a few tenths of a millimeter, it's probably okay to jig it. Alright, we got that burnt. Wow. I did pause halfway in between doing that. Clean that nozzle. We're gonna clean that nozzle. Send it home. This is our preview for our next cut. This is going to be our white. I changed it up a little bit from how I had it before because I didn't really want to burn that much off of this thing. Alright, so let's send this home. Glass cleaner. And it's real important that your paint's dry because you want to put glass cleaner on wet paint. Sorry y'all, it's been a while since I shot any kind of video. Oh shit, yeah, definitely don't want to do that. Alright, anyways, I'm just gonna put y'all down. Hold this. all the goo off of here. About moving this in. Alright. Got that cut. You see, the glass is pretty clear. I mean, but there is a edge surface still. I don't want to touch it because I don't get oil on it before painting. So, air block here. Now, when you're painting, it's pretty important to use paint that all works together. I've been using this 2X stuff for Rust-Oleum, works pretty good. They did not have the color blue I wanted at my hardware, so I did get Rust-Oleum still, and this is gonna work. It's just gonna take probably a little longer to dry than that stuff. I don't know how much different it is, but we're gonna do it. So, all right, so paint your blue like you, or whatever color, you know. I'm gonna let that dry. You can also use a heat gun on this, just don't get it too hot. That's what I've been doing in between here. If you don't put too thick of coats, it dries pretty quickly. Now you want to make sure you put enough coats on it, if you're doing, especially if you're doing thin coats, that it looks good from the front. Now how do you know? Well, you can't look at it, but you pretty want to make sure you get them all filled in, and it just takes a little practice. If you put a little much on it, you just gotta wait a little longer for it to dry, mainly. So that's probably good. Probably hit it with a heat gun just a little bit, flash off some of them VOCs, and get this stuff to kicking. Alright, got our last burn in. This is going to be our white layer. If this is your last color, you're okay to pull this out to clean it and things. I want to look at this first because I had my settings a little bit off from where I did before. I cut this one at 300 millimeters a second at the same power. I just want to make sure that it burnt everything away. Looks like it did. Looks like it did a pretty good job. So we probably could have sped this whole job up by cutting the whole thing at 300 millimeters and 40%. But better to take a little bit more time doing it, get it right, than to screw it up, do it twice. Well, we're pretty sure this is going to be our last color. We can pull this out. Alright, thanks for bearing with me on this awful video and I've been doing. All I've got is my phone. So, alright, we're going to put our white in. Pretty confident that it's burned through enough. I'm sorry to stop it, but I wanted to test this. Hey, let's just see what happens. This piece is for me, it's not like it's for a customer, so no big loss if it's not perfect, but I like to do perfect work, y'all. Because look, no matter what you do, that there a little bit. No matter what you do, no matter what business you're in, there can only be one cheapest. and there can be one best. And if you always try to be the best, you don't have to be the cheapest. And hard to make a living being the cheapest. I try to be the best. So this is what making stuff for yourself's about, and making stuff for your family. And that's where you get your practice in. And then when your customers come to you and want to know why you charge more than the other guy, well, tell them you probably do better work than the other guy. Alright, we're going to hit this with a little bit of heat. Alright, I put a little paint on here, but as you can see, we're having a little bit of reaction with the blue paint that's on here. So, like I said, y'all, it's kind of important to make sure, even though that paint was from Rust-Oleum, it wasn't the same kind of paint. So, it's got a reaction. And this may be lacquer paint, I don't know, it doesn't really say. But lacquer and enamel don't really mix the greatest. So, we'll see what happens with this, but look, we're going to go ahead and flip this bad boy over. We're going to pull these magnets out. See what we got. There we go. And that's how you do multicolor on mirror. I see we're definitely having a reaction here with our paint, which honestly is giving us a kind of a cool, tinted look. So, you know, hey, we'll take it for now. Like I said, this is going to be for my Hot Wheel cars. I got a collection of golf cars. And now that I look at this, I really want to do some of this in some metallic colors. But you can kind of see the grain of the glass gives it a metallic look. This is not metallic paint at all. This is just regular, orange paint. You can see it's kind of got I guess the glass gives it more of a depth. Alright, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If, you know, I'll make more videos if you need to know something else and I know it. I'm glad to share my knowledge about anything I know. Thanks. If you like the channel, if you like cars and stuff, subscribe. Eventually I will get back on my project car. Thanks, y'all have a good day.